Hi, I'm Rinda Smith, and today I want to talk a little bit about boundaries. Boundaries usually are signs of codependency because codependents usually lack boundaries. So, I want to share something that I got from my own personal counselor that kind of shed some light on how to enforce boundaries. So, I'm going to share these 13 things and talk about them a little bit. Boundary is a property line, and it defines where you begin and where you end. And your boundaries need to be made visible to others and communicated through yes and no answers. So, yes, I'm going to do this, or no, I don't want to do that. That's going to be clarifying the boundary. The second thing is boundaries are like a gate. You open the gate when you want something, and you close the gate when you don't. So you are in charge of your own gate. Nobody else has access to the remote that is going to open and close your gate. And you are in charge of your gate, and you need to remember that. Like I said, you're the gatekeeper to your emotional sobriety. Number 3, don't take care of something for somebody else that they're capable of doing for themselves. Now, I learned this, it's on this sheet from her, but I learned this in Al Anon. And doing something for someone else that they're capable of doing themselves is actually taking away their ability to live their life. So don't do things for people that they can do for themselves. Codependents love to rescue and to help other people because it makes them feel good. That's how you define yourself. Number 4, a person without boundaries will try to rescue a person with irresponsible behaviors. And the person who's responsible for the negative behavior, which is the other person, they will never suffer the consequences if you're continuing to rescue them. The person who rescues usually suffers the consequences. Number 5, nagging a person is not helpful. So nagging them to get something done, or nagging them that you don't want to do it, or to do this or to do that, it's not helpful. The person will not feel a need to change unless they suffer the consequences, which means that you need to enforce your boundaries. So when you set a boundary, yes, I'll do something, or no, I won't, when somebody crosses that boundary, there needs to be a consequence that the person needs to suffer. And it needs to be painful enough that they'll remember, not mean, but, just a reminder of these are my boundaries. Number 6, you cannot grow for another person. You're responsible for yourself, and the other person is responsible for themselves. Stay on your side of the street. That's another thing that I learned in Al Anon. We talk about sides of the street, right? And so what's going on the other person's side of the street is none of your business. They need to tend to their stuff, and you need to tend to yours. If you keep your side of the street clean, then you're good to go. You're not responsible for jumping over because you cross that double yellow line and you're looking for a car accident. And that's the same thing with trying to get involved in somebody else's life and telling them how to run it. Codependents love to jump in and give advice, and it's not helpful to the other person because they're not going to learn anything if you're in there fixing it, or you're trying to get them to do the right thing, and they're just going to have resentment towards you. Number 7, if you say yes and comply and you don't want to do it, you're going to resent it. And you're also going to resent the other person. Number 8, don't avoid setting boundaries just because somebody else might get their feelings hurt or get mad at you. Sometimes we do things as codependents because we don't want our loved one to get upset with us. And we fear of losing somebody's love, but that shouldn't stop you from saying no to something that you don't want to do. So setting the boundary is what you need to do. Because, like I said earlier, is that you'll resent not only having to do it, but you'll start to resent that other person as well. Number 9. Many people, codependents, give out of guilt or trying to get approval. You need to stop and ask yourself, when you go to do something for somebody, what are you seeking from giving? Are you seeking approval, or are you doing it because you feel guilty and you think that that's the right thing to do? Ask yourself, really and truly, what am I looking for? Or is it something that I want to do just because I want to do it, or am I trying to get love from another person? I had a client that I was working with today that she sent her dad a text and told him Happy Veterans Day, thank you for serving, and had her son record a little message and say thank you for your service. And then she got upset because her dad sent a message back and thanked her son and not her, and told her son that he loved him, and he didn't tell her. Now that triggered a couple of things. One, it triggered the abandonment in her from trying to get approval from her dad. So did she do it for the right reason or the wrong reason? She did it because she felt the appreciation for her dad's service, but she was looking for something in return, right? So she was giving, trying to seek approval. So when codependents do that, they want something in return from it, and it is approval. Number 10, passive shrinking back is destructive to your soul. Say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean. So that's something to, there's no reason to get defensive and to say things mean. Just stand your ground and assert yourself and have a voice. Number 11, if a phone conversation is too long or there's anger on the line, it's good to say, I'm going to go now. So let me give you a hint, right? If you start to feel your shoulders shrink up and your neck is tightening up, it's time to get off the phone. And this also applies to in-person conversations that you have. It's okay to give yourself permission to take a time out. And timeouts are healthy, because what happens is when if you feel that, what's happening is you're going into your reptilian brain, and then you're going to say things and you're going to react out of hurt and anger, and you're going to say things that you really don't mean. But if you give yourself permission to take a time out before you get to that, then most likely you're going to de-escalate the conversation. And if you take the time out and you go to another room and the person follows you, leave the house. It's okay. And then come back and talk about it later when you're calmed down. And if the person is not calmed down, or you feel yourself getting upset again, leave again. It's okay. And then readdress the situation in 24 hours. Right? Number 12. Proactive people show what they want. They don't demand the rights. They live it. Practice assertiveness. So for example, if you're standing next to somebody and they're poking you and you don't want to be poked, you can move away from them. It's the same thing when you're in a conversation that you don't want to be in, and you're going into that reptilian brain and you feel yourself rising in anger and anger and anger. It's okay to give yourself permission to walk away from the conversation. You don't have to stand there and get into an argument. Just have your boundaries, right? And let that be known. If this conversation starts to get heated, I'm going to take a time out. And that's being assertive and setting your boundary. Number 13, and the last one. You teach people how to treat you, right? Having good boundaries teaches people how to engage with you in a healthy manner, or it at least allows you to respond to that person in a healthy manner. So that's my spiel on boundaries. and how to have a healthy boundary setting experience, remember, you're the gatekeeper. Okay? My name is Rinda Smith. If you would like to set up an appointment with me, you can contact me at Rinspire Life Coaching, or you can send me a text at 256-497-4790. Again, assert your boundaries. Talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.